The NBA Summer League might not be the most competitive tournament out there, but it's a good place to see how young players have developed and which of them can have a bigger role in the incoming season. And that's exactly what the Milwaukee Bucks did in Vegas. They went on an underwhelming 1 win and 4 losses record, but there was still quite a few things that stood out and can help us know what to expect once the 25-26 season starts. The first player I want to talk about is Bogoljub Markovic, who is clear to me that needs to put a lot of work in the gym. Like, he doesn't have the bodybuilding to be an NBA player yet, in my opinion, but despite from that, you can see the vision. He has some good instincts on offense, like he's smart with his move, with his passing, and that shined even though the Bucks didn't really have a lot of offensive creators, so it probably wasn't the best environment for him to show his capabilities. He felt better on transition, like he already had shown that was one of his strengths in Europe because he has the willingness to run the fast break and create something from there. And in Europe, he has done that after rebounding, like he took the ball and immediately started running the floor. And he couldn't do that in Vegas. He didn't really have great rebounding numbers, and I think the lack of strength had to do with that. So he should be better once he starts working on his body. But he still makes a lot of plays on transition. He's big, he can run, so he can score at the rim. So that's some part of his game where he can kind of have an impact already, but he still needs to grow on a lot of things. I like his attitude though, like he started feeling a bit nervous, but I think that's a good thing because you could tell he wanted to make an impression, like he was locked in, and yeah, that sometimes led to some rush shots, but overall I really like how he approached the games, how he wanted to look good. I think that's good to see. That shows he really cares about basketball, unlike some other players who you don't really feel they care that much. So that's a good place to start.
For the rebound, Markovic on the move. Oh!
I also was not impressed, but I thought his defense would be worse. Like, reading some reports about him, they said he wasn't really ready to defend when switching on the perimeter. And yeah, that was still true, but he wasn't as slow as I thought he would. He didn't really felt comfortable playing that far from the rim, but that's to expect though, because in FIBA basketball there's no this much switch hunting and this much isolation game, so he's not really used to that, but I see the potential in him on that end of the floor too, so I think overall his summer league was somewhat positive. I don't feel he's ready to play in the NBA yet, I don't think he can contribute all that much, so that still makes this pick kind of weird. He might benefit from another year in Europe, it might be better for him to stay close to the team and play more minutes in the G-League. I don't know, he won't be a part of the rotation this year, but I can see him being an important player in the future.
Good defense by Markovic, he's had a couple of nice defensive plays, and in transition takes it all the way for the layup.
Next is Tyler Smith, who I think look way better than the numbers might make it look. He couldn't buy a shot, like he was atrocious from 3 up until the last game where he actually hit a couple, but I'm not worried about that. I don't think he just forgot how to shoot, right? We know he's an effective shooter, he has proven that over the years, so I just think this was a cold stretch, a super cold stretch, but he will make shots once he plays in the NBA, and I think he looked ready to play in the NBA. The biggest thing I wanted to see about him was how his movement looked, mainly on defense, and I think he looked fine. Like, I was pleasantly surprised when he was on the perimeter. Maybe he didn't have to face a lot of super explosive guards, but when he was there, he didn't feel exposed, which was something I was worried about because I have read some reports that talk about that being his main flaw, and I didn't really feel that. I think he moved nicely and he used his size to make himself have to surpass. He still needs to use his size when he's closer to the rim though, because he still didn't bring a lot of rebounding, and even when he comes as a help defender, he doesn't really make much of a presence in the paint. Like, he doesn't intimidate, he don't block shots, he didn't even alter some shots, but overall I like what I saw. That translates to the offense too, because he showed some good offensive movement. There was a lot of nice cuts where he caught his man ball watching, so he attacked the paint and received there and could dunk easily. He had some easy points that helped him fill the box score even if he wasn't hitting threes. So he wasn't just standing outside waiting for the shot to come. Like, if he sees some space, he's going there and he's trying to create something with his movement. So if you forget his terrible shooting, which shouldn't be a problem, I think he might be ready for some NBA shot.
Smith drops the hammer.
Same for Chris Livingston, who once again felt like the best player on the team, and that's nothing new. He felt that way last summer league too, and he even felt good in his rookie year, which is weird because then he never plays. Like, he's been in the team for 2 years and I don't think he has played a single minute that is not garbage time. So it kind of made sense when the Bucks waived him, but weirdly enough they re-signed him again 2 weeks after he was waived. I don't know if that was purely based on his summer league performance, maybe it was because some of the contract details, but the fact that he re-signed now has to mean he's going to play at some point, because it wouldn't make any sense to do that if it's going to be just a bench warmer again. And he has played like he shouldn't be a bench warmer again. He has looked strong and athletic. He isn't an elite shooter, but he can shoot, he can put the ball on the floor and attack the rim. He's a pretty good rebounder, not only defensive but offensive rebounder. He scores a lot attacking the glass, and maybe the problem with him is like he doesn't look stellar on anything. Like, there's some players where you just watch them for 5 minutes and you say, yeah, this is the thing this guy can do. And with Livingston, there's nothing you say, oh yeah, I can see him being this kind of player. I can see him being a shooter or a playmaker or a defensive stopper. Like, he doesn't have this main strength that you can see him building his game around, but he doesn't really look like a player with exploitable flaws either, and that can help him fit on an NBA era where it's actually more important to not have exploitable flaws than to be elite at just one single thing. I don't know, it's pretty weird with him, but it feels like he can be an NBA player to me. Not a great NBA player, but a useful one. It's just tough for me to think that someone who was scoring almost 21 points a game with a nearly 50% shooting from the floor cannot have a room on the NBA. Maybe not a guaranteed place, but he deserves a chance to fight for it, and I'm really excited because I think this has to be the year where he's given the chance. The Bucks actually don't really have a lot of depth in the forward position, so they actually kind of need him to be good. So let's see, I think he's going to be given the chance, and I trust him because this is not the first time he's looked this good.
Ulbrich defends Livingston. 3 balls, money.
And now let's talk about Andre Jackson Jr., which wasn't nearly as good. In fact, you could say he was pretty bad. And I don't really know how to feel about that, because he's clearly not made to be great at this game. Like, there are some players who clearly benefit from having a bigger role, have more shots, have the ball on their hands a little more, and that's not necessarily Ajax's case. He wants to be this kind of glue guy that holds everything together by making the dirty work, defense, the rebounding, the hustle plays. But if you are the one holding things together, you can only be as good as the things you are actually holding together. So if the roster you are playing is not pretty good, as it was the case on Summer League, you are not going to look good. Like, that was the case last year. He wasn't good at Summer League, and then we got to the regular season and he actually started the season feeling pretty positive on defense. That said, he at times even felt like he wasn't trying. Channing Frye actually said it best on the broadcast. He said something like, if I didn't knew already, I would have never told he is an NBA player because he has not made an impact on this game whatsoever. And he was right. He said that in the game against Cleveland, and that game was a pretty bad game for him. He didn't really felt aggressive neither on offense or on defense, but I still think he should be better than this. That said, I'm still worried about the lack of offensive game he showed. I get that in the NBA he sometimes doesn't want to take some shots, he could be afraid of the moment in some games, maybe he feels like other players like Giannis should be the ones taking the shot and he doesn't want to take shots away from them. I get that, but that can't happen in Summer League, and it did happen. There was like this classic Ajax moment where he got the ball in the paint, he had a shot at the rim and he just passed the ball to the 3-point line again, and he cannot be afraid of the moment in Summer League. These are the kinds of games where he should build some confidence in those plays so he can try to make those easy shots on the NBA, and it was weird that he wasn't even trying. I mean, he grew through the games, he was much better in the last 2 games he played, he was more aggressive on transition, he actually tried to put the ball on the floor, but it was too little too late, I think. The weird thing is that he actually shot pretty well from 3. I mean, the sample size was super small, but he shot 6 threes and hit 4 of them, which I don't know what to take from it. Maybe it was just a hot stretch, but we can always dream he's putting some work into it and he can become a better shooter. I don't know, I think that it would be fine, but I'm not going to expect him to be good just because 4 threes, you know? And I also think it's actually way more important for him to be able to finish at the rim.
Noel. No look feed! Jackson, if you're nasty!
Okay, let's talk about the two-way players now, starting with Jamaree Bouyea. He only played 2 games because he got injured. I don't think it was nothing serious, but they just shut him down so it didn't get worse. But he looked pretty good. He looked like a nice scorer, he could shoot, he could attack the rim, he really looked confident with the ball, and he had the biggest moment for the Bucks with the game winner he made in game 1. So I think like if he was fighting to keep his 2-way contract, I think he'll lock that in. The problem with him is that he doesn't seem to have an NBA bodybuilding for me. He's not really tall, not really that strong, so I don't know if he would be really able to be productive if he's sometime called to play with Bucks, but I think he's earned the 2-way spot.
Bouyea, switching gears, pass Tyson!
And the other 2-way player was Nance, and I had to admit I wasn't really excited about him, but he's grown on me over these games. I already knew he could shoot, but he surprised me with how comfortable he can play on the perimeter. Like, there are some centers that can actually shoot, but they don't do anything else when they are far from the rim. But Nance really liked making plays, he started a lot of handoff, he could actually pass, he could even put the ball on the floor and attack the rim. He felt way more versatile than I thought he was, so that was surprising to me. Also, he surprised me on defense. I think his switch ability was fine. He doesn't have a super quick reaction, but he knows how to make his size have an impact. He has these long arms he used to alter shots so he didn't block them. So he brought some rim protection, and overall I think he had a pretty solid performance in Vegas. The thing is, I still can't come over the fact that he looks super skinny. Like, I struggle to consider him a presence on the paint. I just don't see how he would match against strong and bigger centers, but I'm way more positive about him now.
Nance beats the shot clock!
And that's were my thoughts about the Bucks' performance in the G-League. Let me know in the comments if you agree with them or if you think I missed something. And if you enjoyed the video, you can subscribe, give a like, and stay tuned for more Milwaukee Bucks content. Thanks for watching.